Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Link to the Past daily race here on the Speed Gaming family of networks. We're here on SG2, and today is Fast Friday. Today we have ourselves a casual early boot seed with 7-7 Fast Ganon, and our runners today are Sabatender, Rollin Tankier, Matt Girl 718, and Chloe Power. And my name is Professor Renderer, and joining me is my co-commentator Spy Weaver. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, getting ready to see some fast running this evening.
That is amazing. Yeah, this seed, Fast Friday, is all about boot starts. A boot start is pretty much, well, you get the boots right out of the gate, and wherever the boots location used to be, it's just nothing. It's just a chest full of nothing. And without further ado, let's get this race going. And quite a wide range of sprites here. We start off 20 rupees in Link's house. And we get our first map check. We see that Hera is a pendant and the rest are crystals. So nothing's 5-6 too.
And being that this is also a standard seed, we'll be seeing the general opening where you have to go through the escape, rescue Zelda, and make your way out in the sanctuary.
Yep, and since we already have a sword right out of the gate, only our uncle gives us 20 rupees. And I was going to say, too, we have quite a variety of different sprites here. We have Nia from Xenoblade Chronicles. I believe that's what Sabatenders is. I might be mistaken. We got Relin running his Samus sprite, and Chloe Power running his Vaporeon sprite. I believe Mapgirl is using one of the Link variants.
Actually, almost looks like it might be a vanilla Link sprite down there for Math Girl.
And there's also that hat. There's that either that hat's colored sprite or the tunic colored sprite. It's Sprite from Secret of Mana that my chat is correcting me on that. They look too similar, but so far things are pretty much normal. Not a whole lot in the first chest. Coming up onto the boomerang chest, and there's our flippers.
Definitely one of the better items to find early on.
Oh, definitely. Having the flippers this early on in the game definitely means that we don't necessarily have to worry about fake flippering, and we have access to the Waterfall Fairy this earlier on.
In essence, it'll just put into logic all the checks that most of the runners would do right off the start either way.
Definitely.
Already seeing a lot of the unusual sites that you'll see with a early boots or a fast boot start. A lot more bonks than normal, where you don't usually have the boots. You know, you're not used to running with them in these areas. Not quite used to stopping when you should to avoid those bonks.
And Zelda's chest is actually the boots chest. That would have been the boots if the boot start was not a thing. So because of the fact that we have boots right out of the gate, we need to change the item pool to give the boots something that's not the boots, because it wouldn't make any sense. So instead it just gives you nothing, which personally I would rather have 20 single rupees instead of just nothing.
As Chad's pointing out, actually that chest is just an empty chest. The boots are essentially taken out of the item pool and just replaced with an empty chest of sorts. Not necessarily where the boots would have shown up.
Yes, because it's in place of where the boots used to be.
So in other words, it doesn't really based on come into effect for logic reasons wherever that empty chest is. It's just a whole lot of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Dart cross, just another 20 rupees for us. A whole lot of 20 rupees so far. Also looks like Sabo and Chloe got an 8 bomb drop early on as well. Shouldn't need that right away in the back of Escape here since we do have boots, but it'll definitely come in handy when we get to Kakariko. And a Master Sword and Hammer in the back of Escape there. Getting us some really good offense early on here.
Definitely a really nice addition. We're only just a lamp away from Aga being in logic.
Don't go cursing the runners like that already.
I mean, it does lead us somewhere, but 20 rupees in the Sanctuary chest, and Saboteur is actually going to be saving and quitting, going to take a different take a divergence here.
Looks like we're going to go down to the South Shore early on for Saboteur, get some of those other flipper checks in with the South Shore check.
I would have personally saved and quit after like I got the bonk chest. And there's our glove. We're only just a moon pearl away from Dark World access. Pretty much Aga 1 is very, very unlikely. Only case it would have been is if, for whatever reason, Moon Pearl was on Pyramid Ledge.
Bush Crab dropping some 5 rupee drops for us over there on Rollins' side. And Lumberjack Ledge, just a piece of heart this evening.
And already we have Tempered Sword right out of the gates here. We found that in the drop down in the Lost Woods. It's not even been 10 minutes in and we're already having 3 swords in the light worlds right out of the gate. Very, very helpful.
Offense-wise, this seed is being very friendly here.
Yep. Saboteur now checking up the mini Moldrum Cave. And a whole lot of nothing.
Chloe down in the back of the Lion's Hut here. Pack of bombs. Piece of heart. 50 rupees. And a 300 rupee drop. And final chest this evening is another 20 rupees. Getting closer there for that Zora money.
Yeah, they're only just about a few, like, blue rupees away. But at least 3 more rupees would have done it. And Ice Rock Cave had nothing too, just a piece of heart.
Getting our first bottle in the Kakariko well today. With another 20 rupee drop. 50 more rupees, another piece of heart, and another 20 rupees.
So at this point too, since we're going to be turning in the bottle vendor, we're only just 20 rupees away from Zora. I say that and we get 20 rupees.
Speaking of 20 rupees.
Oh boy. But Saboteur are going to check out the flipper checks. and another 20 rupees, and 50 rupees to the chicken hut. Oh, we're gonna check up on the sick kid. Only 20 rupees, so a whole lot of money for Zora, but in general, there's just nothing. I say that we get half magic.
Waterfall Fairy giving us our first shield and another piece of heart up there for Sabatender.
And Chloe finds out that there is a heart container on the library, which is electing to go check out now. And only
Zora Ledge, just some bombs. We'll be seeing a save and quit for Sabo up there without the rupees to pay the Zora fee.
yeah, this is definitely a problem when you're trying to do this kind of thing, but especially now that Kakariko is full of money, even though there's not a whole lot, that still actually leads us to check out Zora right out of the gate.
Another full heart piece there on the race game, and Rowland is just going to save and quit instead of jump over and grab it. With what we've already seen, we're quickly running out of checks here. I think what we have left would just be Zora himself, then over to the Eastern Palace area.
And let's not forget, too, there's also the desert area, too, for the Desert Ledge and Agata's Cave.
Ah, yes, the oft-forgot Agina's Cave.
I mean, it has not been all forgotten. It's definitely checked pretty, or sometimes I've seen runners check it pretty early.
Looks like Rowland will follow Chloe down to the South Shore route off to the right there, routing towards Ice Rod Cave and Mini Moldorm. We have to wait a little bit longer till we get that checked over towards the Desert Palace area.
So looks like since Chloe is actually not saving a queen out of Ice Rod Cave, looks like he's gonna opt for a water walk here and gonna check those flipper checks. Even though really he has the flippers, does not really. I mean, I get it why he would do it because of the speed and all, but yeah, who am I kidding? It's better just to water walk here, I guess.
Yeah, definitely a lot faster to go dashing on there with the boots instead of trying to swim your way up there. That's for sure. His way up too gave us a check of Lake Hylia Island. We shouldn't be seeing that anymore, however, today, since it was just another junk item.
Mm-hmm. So I think after Coley decides to, once he's done with this Zora check, because we know there's not a lot of not a lot of anything. We know of a shield inside the waterfall fairy, but that's really all that is left on it. Then probably just go for the Eastern Palace area.
Well, all roads are going to point us towards Eastern Palace or Desert. Eastern definitely has a more dense setting of items, or checks, I should say, at least.
And Zora's going to give us a bottle, but that's all that really is worth it. So Sabotan are actually going to go for the Eastern Palace area play. And an ice rod.
And an ice rod. Definitely a good item to find early on if you need it later. However, it's not the item any of the runners are going to be looking for at this point. With that, Sabo's going to show us our first look into Eastern Palace over here.
Yeah, Eastern is pretty much the only high density play that you can do at the moment. There's our lamp that actually now opens up Aga 1.
That lamp definitely gives us progression, but I don't think that was the progression item that the runners will be looking for or preferred to see.
And green pendant here is Misery Mire.
Meanwhile, the second item is a piece of heart in Eastern Palace for us today.
And there's our big key. So you now check the big chest. And the rest of this dungeon is also in logic, mostly up until the bow. Because we need that bow to finish off Eastern.
So if I'm not mistaken, I believe we have 2 checks that are left for in logic here.
So our big key chest is going to only yield us 5 rupees, and that's actually all 3 items accounted for. So this definitely looks like Agana and also Aga 1 is highly suggested. However, since we do have that lamp and a glove, we're gonna have the mountain. That's pretty much our next play that we can really do, as it has more density.
Sabo looping back and grabbing the bunk rocks that he didn't grab the first time through here. Now Raylan making his way over to the big chest, Eastern Palace. Before
So now
heading up the mountain, Sabo takes a quick look at Lumberjack Ledge just to make sure there isn't an item up there, since it looks like Seed's pointing us towards an Aga 1 here.
Yeah, it's only Death Mountain, Agata, and then, of course, Aga 1. And the only thing that could potentially be on Aga 1, like at least once you finish off Aga 1, is that Moon Pearl and Desert Ledge, or not Desert Ledge, Pyramid Ledge. And that would be the only thing that remains in this current situation.
Old man gives us a piece of heart today, so we're getting ever so little lower on our amount of checks left.
So the only thing that's left is top of Spectacle Rock and inside Spectacle Rock.
You can look at one, grab the other, and then you're going to have to either go make the play for Aga 1 or decide to go into the desert area.
Personally, I would leave out Agata because it's too far out of the way after a save and quit.
Yep, and Sabo not even
There's a Moon Pearl.
look top at the Moon Pearl inside there.
That's Darkwold access. Perfect bailout, so that Death Mountain play was the right call to make. Now Sabotender heading over to the cave that gets overhyped to heck and back.
Chloe grabbing their Moon Pearl as well, gonna save and quit. And looks like they went to the Sanctuary here. Might see the Village of Outcasts play right away. Map check also showing us Pod and Turtle Rock, our red crystal.
And I did not catch what was the other pendant. So yeah, so now Sabotender are going to go for the cave that gets overhyped to heck and back, starting things off with a green rupee. Following up with a piece of heart, 50 rupees, a shield, and a single rupee. Yeah, this cave gets ridiculously overhyped. I don't know why this is called Hype Cave. It should be called Cave 73.
The Cave of Broken Dreams.
I have a hard time believing that's a reference to a certain song I know.
It might be. Yes, it looks like Ice Palace is our other pendant today.
And another bottle from Stumpy. And Sabotender heading for the digging game.
Meanwhile, Chloe's gonna dip right into Thieves Town, have that hammer, and go ahead and full clear the dungeon.
Yeah, this is the right call to make, really. Just go for that play that would have... let's go for that Thieves Town play. You have the hammer this early on. You don't have to worry about the big chest having an item at all. And you have a tempered sword, which makes this a lot more manageable to traverse.
It makes the enemies inside the dungeon a little bit easier. However, as we all know, Blind likes taking the same amount of hits no matter what weapon you use.
And looks like only 20 rupees on the pyramid ledge.
2 items up front for Chloe, not producing much, just a full heart container and the single arrow for us today. Make our way into the back and finish out the rest of the dungeon here. A little more divergence as Sabo's making his way over to the pyramid ledge, seeing a 20 rupee up there, and Rowland's actually making his way up towards the catfish here.
And checking out that catfish, gonna see what that has. And Sabotage are heading for a pod. And only 3 bombs from the catfish. So Sabotage can check the first chest of pod and see if it's bow locked or not. And it's not bow locked. We can continue on. Open up the main chest and having the key that would be needed for the big chest of the town, which is what Chloe is exactly going to do.
Yep, we only found 2 items so far. That means Blind has 1 and the big chest has 1. And there's the mirror.
That's an excellent pickup from Chloe. And that right there now opens up the entirety of, lets you open up Hera and also the rest of Death Mountain. And apparently Saboteur also found the King of Samaria. That was in pod.
We're gonna keep Blind on script here, and we have Mathgirl and Rowan both into Skull Woods doing some early checks here as well for us.
Yep, and Mefko picking up the bow in the pot prison. I'm gonna take a Death Warp. But imagine it was a Death Warp, though. It only makes sense. Yeah.
Ooh, and Mathgirl getting wall mastered in the pinball room before we can get to that chat.
Yeah, that's kind of risky because I know there's a bug that happens with the wall master and bumping up against the bumpers. But by the way, Chloe has drawn first blood. He finished up blind. Okay.
Taking the Wallmaster Express on out that time.
The only reason why I'm saying okay is the screen.
Yeah, the screen movement there.
Yeah. And Chloe found the fire rod out of the brewery. And a heart container in the C-shaped house.
While Sabotender continues our trek through Pod here, heading on over to the Dark Maze. And Chloe, looks like we're gonna get some mirror checks out of the way too here.
Yeah, it makes sense. And looks like Math Girl opted to Death Warp. Skull Woods. Because Chloe's the only one with that mirror. Gonna check out King's Tomb. And there's a Titan's Mitts.
And meanwhile, Sabotender picking up a shovel in the maze.
Yay,
and
fetch quest.
Coin.
And yep, that's one of our medallions. We only need 1 to at least finish the game. Potentially, if might be 2 in case Sahasrahla has an item that is of progression. Chloe heading over to the Graveyard Ledge. And only 3 bombs. The best thing about Chloe having the fire rod and the mirror is that, especially with the fire rod, that actually lets him completely single dip Skull Woods. And only 300 rubies from the dig spot. And to signal somebody from chat here, we're only like two away from go mode. However, this could also mean that in case Turtle Rock is not either, then we might need another item or so in order to finish the game.
Yeah, it'd be a Schrodinger's go mode of sorts.
Yes, and that would the only go mode items that would lead to this Schrodinger situation is first of all we need our hook shot and either a book or a flute, because the flute isn't necessarily needed because the Misery Mire is a pendant.
However, with that mirror, you can always flute over to the Misery Mire area and then take a mirror into the back of Desert Palace.
Yeah, that would be the most viable option here, and plus they would have fast travel, so this will not be a problem. And since we're only like half an hour in, we already have our only two away from go mode, or Schrodinger's go mode. And Rowland actually picks up the Sanct Heart from Thieves Town.
You know, Chloe's taking that fire rod to the back of Skullwoods here. Should see a Mothula fight very shortly. Going right to the back and gonna take down Mothula since you have to anyways, and hopefully we find that other item on Mothula and not having to come back for the other chest here in the back. And save a little bit of time having the death warp back and for it there.
And now Chloe, since he has that fire rod, is going to go and fight Mothula. And that was a really smooth Mothula fight. And only a compass, because that was at least two more items left. Or, yeah, we at least have two items, I believe. Because we know one of them was the bow. If not, then we're really missing one item. I could be mistaken, because I am not counting my dungeon items. Yep, that was the ring too. It was that big chest having 20 rupees.
Yep.
Of course, since Chloe decided to go for Mothula first, we'll begin that bow a little bit later on. Now Rowland's on his way to get that mirror from the bit chest. And amongst one of the items, I think I did not catch that initially, but that was the single arrow from Thieves Town.
And there's the bow for Chloe right there. Still skipping over the big chest where we know the other items at, making a few more rounds, grabbing some other checks here.
Yeah, I'm gonna head over to that pinball room just because since it's not the case in this stage, but it's been pretty rare to see it on the stream. But the pinball room in version 31 will not guarantee you a small key, which means there is a potential to soft lock yourself and having to say quit out if you decide to drop down at least. So Chloe leaves Skull Woods with 2 crystals in hand. Rowan gonna head back to Skull Woods to finish off Mothula. So Chloe is doing his digging game. Now, that does mean, though, after Chloe is done with the digging game, you could possibly do the blacksmith chain.
Math Girl getting a little off script there for her blind fight, however, takes it down no problem. Getting their first crystal of the seed. It does indeed look like Chloe's making their way back to grab the Jeremiah here and do our Smith chain for us.
I'm just going to get the hammer pegs because that is what you would do if you're doing the blacksmith chain. And hammer pegs is only 3 bombs. Now Round's on his Mothula fight, and Chloe is going to bring the blacksmiths back home. And the blacksmith is going to give us only 10 arrows.
A pair of Fletchers today, it looks like.
And now the purple chest is now there. Gonna go and check that out. Rowan finished off Mothula, and Map Girl's gonna be going to Mothula soon. Saboteur finishing up Blind. And K45 only being 20 rupees. So Chloe, what he's going to do, he's actually leaving the purple chest behind, and he's going to make it so that once he appears in the light world, he will be getting the item from the purple chest guy, even though he does not have the purple chest with him. If he has set it up correctly, that is. Yep, and it's only a cape. To answer a question in chat, it's a recent discovery, and it makes the purple chest a lot more usable, I guess, because you don't have to like walk around. You'll be able to use the boots and get through it just fine. Rowan grabs his Titan's mitts, and Chloe's going to go to the overhyped cave.
Yeah, the newly discovered, if you want to call it that, purple chest glitch there, it's definitely situated. Having the boots is probably the only instance where it would definitely be advantageous. Boots and mirror, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're just walking anyways, and there's no real reason to leave it behind.
And Chloe is heading for Pod, so that is going to be another dungeon clear for him. And luckily for him, since the pendants, well, the crystals are laid out with Eastern. I'm trying to say Eastern and Pod are crystals, so he could just mirror from Pod to Eastern Powers or vice versa.
Essentially gonna have a 2-for-1 situation here. We got the bow and hammer in hand, can full clear both Pod and Eastern Palace. Go ahead and knock them out and hope the next item or two you're looking for shows up somewhere in these dungeons for you. So Galen's over there as well, heading right into Pod, right behind Chloe. Saddle making their way out of Skullwood's going to give us a bumper cave ledge check, and it is just a piece of heart, so that cape is leading towards nothing today.
Case Mario was actually on the bridge. And that's wrong. Gonna be getting this Case Mario. And to answer a question in chat, the Titansmiths were on the King's Tomb. A little low, Chloe. It's good. Get those hearts that he picked up. And Saboteur grabbing those Titansmiths from King's Tomb.
Looks like right after grabbing those Titansmiths, Math Girl headed right over towards the Smith Chain area. We'll see if she picks up Jeremiah after checking hammer pegs. Well, it looks like Sabotender is heading up towards Catfish.
So now, once Chloe is done with the checks that Sabo did prior, it will be finished. It will be finishing off Helmasar, just clear out the dungeon, and all really is left is just we have quite a number of things to do. But so we're looking for a hook shot, and for Swamp Palace. And we're also going to need a book for, well, at least something to get to Desert Palace with. Which is either going to be a flute or a book. So this means that since we know that the shovel has only a 300 rupee jackpot, this possibly means that this possibly means that we could either see most likely Death Mountain play, like Dark Death Mountain, like East Death Mountain, which is what Saboteur is doing. Chloe's taking a Death Warp to get back to the front. Probably to reset his health.
I'm sitting at 1.5. Definitely a good choice there to reset those hearts, give yourself a little bit more health before heading back to Helm.
And to answer your question, chat, Saboteur did check the shovel, and that was only 300 rupees.
Ooh, Saboteur getting dead rocked before being able to get into Tower of Hera. Just 20 rupees, however, on top of Spectacle Rock for anyone that missed that one. Small key in the first basement.
Yeah. So with this pendant layout with Hera, Ice Palace, and Misery Mire being pendant locations, it's definitely a really good placement there, and it actually leaves Hera with the big key.
Doesn't find any items and just nopes out right away.
Yeah. I don't know. You're leaving behind 2 items. And there's blue mail on the floating islands. And Saboteur's opting to go for a Spiral Cave.
He can work his way down here and Spiral, do the rest of the checks on east side here. Speaking of which, Spiral is just our 4th bottle of the seed.
That's all 4 bottles accounted for. Most of them being either empty or bees. Saboteur heading for Dark Death Mountain, and that will lead us to Super Bunny and Hookshot Cave. No, we can do Hookshot Cave, but only the first chest of it. While Chloe Power, by the way, is doing Helmus Arcane. Bringing off in Paradox Cave. Sorry, the first 2 chests, only 300 rupees and Cane of Burna. Alright, so that's all of our invincibility items, which we already had a bunch of items for the play for the Spike Cave play, it's already available to us with those 2 invincibility items.
And speaking of items to make it a little easier for him, we find Butter Sword on Helmus. So
excellent pickup for Chloe and Rowan as he's done with once he's done with this Helmus Arcane fight. And Chloe gonna mirror to Elysian Palace because that's a dungeon. They're connected to each other. It's a pretty easy dungeon to finish off.
Rowan getting close on health there, had to pop a potion. Helmus King was not playing kind. They're getting pretty close to the bottom of the screen.
Yep, and that's the Helmus King down for Rowan. It's going to receive that gold sword. And in Super Bunny Cave, we'll only had 3 bombs and 20 rupees.
Chloe's going to take that ball right to the back here of Eastern and get the next crisp and get their 4th in this series. It looks like Math Girl is making her way right over to Pod as well, and Sapple's going to give us a check inside of Hookshot Cave. Bonkable just giving us some bombs.
And Saboteur's opting to hover. Oh.
Maybe. Nope, opting for that blue mail upgrade instead, it looks like.
And apparently we lost contact with Rowland. And as Saboteur grabs his blue mail, Chloe on the Helmus Arcane, the Armos Knights. And Saboteur are going to check out Turtle Rock. And the requirement is Ether.
Coin.
Perfect. So that's a dungeon. We can clear the dungeon now, which is very nice. And we've regained control of Rowland. So all is left is just Hookshot and Flute, and that will, or Flute and Book, and that will be a girl mode.
We're still looking for those same items, no matter where they're hiding.
Yeah, this is really nice to see the Ether Medallion being required for Turtle Rock, which means that now it's 5 items that we can finish off, and we're only missing out on 6 items. Well, the 6 items from Swamp Palace because we don't have our hook shot yet, and that is in fact one of the highest amount of items in the game that's not a chance tower, and that only thing that was left from the Armor Science was that map, and that's now 4 crystals to Rowan's name.
First, Chest and TR giving us a piece of heart for Sabatender. I saw a quick map check from him before dipping in there just to make sure it was a crystal to determine how you want to route everything. Let's see here if Chloe decides to go any further inside a Tower of Air. And we are ascending.
And to answer a question, chat, Ether was on the big chest of Pod.
And we're about to see if we have a fire-locked item in Tower of Hera basement here.
And there's our other blue mail, or other mail, for Chloe.
All the clothes hiding up on Death Mountain in one form or another.
We may not have a whole lot of hearts, but protection is very high here. So now Sabatender doing his trek through Turtle Rock, pretty much getting through the Chain Chomp room.
Oof.
And Chloe gets middle hold from Moldorm.
That one definitely hurts, dropping you down 2 floors there. Sable making his way to the big key chest in Turtle Rock. And that's vanilla today.
And now Chloe's finished out Moldorm getting his revenge. And that's a powder. And actually going to be dropping down intentionally to get to the bottom of the dungeon. Because not really bothered about that pendant.
Save a little bit of time avoiding that fanfare there.
Yeah.
The checks over here on Death Mountain.
So that opens up the magic bat. I'm gonna answer a question in chat. Hookshot lock. Ice Palace is not necessarily hookshot lock. There's our flute.
That means we're still just looking for that hookshot now. So big brain plays coming here going up into Turtle Rock as soon as he.
So again, and try to answer the question in chat again. Ice Palace is not necessarily hookshot locked, because of the fact that the only thing that could potentially be hookshot locked was if you're looking for items in Ice Palace. And the book was also picked up from Sabatender, also in Thieves Turtle Rock. And that's actually, that's full-on Desert Palace access. Even if you, no matter how you slice it, both your Desert Palace access items are in Turtle Rock or around the Turtle Rock area in some form or another. Still no hookshot, but at least we have everything that we can do. So, Saboteur now checking out to the laser bridge. Let's be cautious here because this is on green mail. Is the key that we needed for to at least finish up the dungeon. And the final chest is going to be a map. Is it? Does it get blue mail? Apparently so.
Yep, he went and grabbed that when he after going and getting the bonk chest.
That's good. After picking up his, picking up her. I'm sorry, her ether medallion. I swear, if I'm very sorry.
Saboteur heading right on into Trinex. Should make quick work of this here.
Now, since Saboteur does not have the gold sword, that means that he can't really do the zero cycle from Trinex. But either way, it gets the two necks of Trinex out, and I was gonna do with the final neck, snake thing. And now there goes the snake Trinex. I have no idea where this is going. And it's a piece of heart.
Solo neck.
That also now means the Pyramid Fairy is open. Once Chloe is finished up. Or Rowland. Either one of the two.
Looks like Sabo is headed back towards the Tower of Hera area. We're making a play in there, grabbing those two items previously left out in there. Or is it going to be just an ether tablet check?
And Saboteur checking the ether tablet with that book in hand. There's only 5 rupees.
We're going to see Spike Cave instead here, are we? Definitely within logic, and let's see what we can get for the trick over a lot of spikes today. Just 50 rupees, and that'll be a save and quit for Sabo there. The hunt for the hookshot continues.
And Saboteur is going to activate his flute. And Mavgirl taking a death to Helmless Arcane. That's a rough death.
Definitely not one you want to take, given how long it takes to get all the way back to Helmacane.
And Saboteur gets his goose, Honk.
Loose is loose, the bird is the word, and the duck is a muck.
And the pet deck's a wreck. And the goose is untitled.
And that's going to take us right over to a Pod and Eastern Palace play for Sabo. It's like... Instead of a ped check, you're getting a pod check from Sabo. Yeah, close enough. Moralen about to pick up their flute here in Mimic Cave.
The best thing about the flute being a Mimic Cave is since we knew already that ether was required for Turtle Rock, it actually flows really smoothly, continuing this actually pretty linear sequence of events here.
The way things have been falling almost has to make one wonder if that hookshot is just going to be waiting there right in the desert for us to... Math Girl's made her way back to Helmosaur King. I'll have 17 hits with the hammer between her and seeing his face. Ooh, down to 1 heart. Gotta play it careful here. And down goes Helma King for Math Girl. She'll be shortly receiving her 3rd crystal and butter sword. Right behind, we'll see Sabotender doing the same thing.
And Sabotage takes on the Helmosaur King. Math Girl going for Eastern Palace. So at this point in the game, I feel like really you should go for you should probably head for you need to go for some pendant dungeons. The best possible thing to do is you can do Desert Palace, which is a dungeon you can clear. The only thing that's left is Swamp Palace. That would be not accessible to us because we need a hook shot. Ice Palace could be a possibility if Desert Palace does not have anything else. That or Misery Mire. It's also going to be 3 items because with the fact that we have the green pendant on there. Sahasrara counts for the 1 extra item check, as Misery Mire only has 2 items.
One of the more dense areas left remaining yet is that Misery Mire Desert Palace area. You do have the Mire Shed, you do have the mirror, so you can also check checkerboard while you're over there.
Yeah, the Mire area is definitely a good call to make. It's more dense. You got Desert Palace to finish up. You have Desert Palace to finish up. You have the entirety of the Mire area. You have Mire itself. You have Sahasrara. It's definitely a good call to go for Misery Mire, even if because at this point if we don't find our hook shots anywhere in this particular race, like in Desert Palace or something else, the only possible thing is going to have to be the pedestal.
Well, they also do have Pyramid Fairy open to them as well.
Yes, Pyramid Fairy is also an option, and so is the Bombos tablet, which has not been checked yet.
Math Girl takes down Armos Knights, and you got Sabotender right behind her, taking down Armos Knights as well, getting another crystal for the tally sheet here. So now comes decision time.
I gave only 50 rupees. So really all you gotta do, I believe, is the best call to make, since Sabotender has cleared up both the Pod Eastern plays, is going for that Misery Mire play, which is the right call to make. Now, this could possibly be Ether as well. Other than that, if not, then it's most likely going to be something else. Can't really tell what that was. I had to take a guess.
That fast for me to check there.
That would have been Ether. If it was only like part of the coin.
300 rupees and a little bit more love in that shed. We'll be seeing the mirror here going into Desert Palace.
One of our tracker for the night, Link Force, is actually saying that it's Quake for Misery Mire. And Chloe's gonna check the magic bat.
It's gonna be a little bit of new information here for us.
Now there are possible solutions, and only a piece of heart.
Item number 1 is 20 rupees in Desert Palace today.
As one of our items.
So
and our second item is Bombos.
So grab the Vanilla Big Cube, go back and get yourself a Land Mollusk Crystal. And then what?
So Desert Palace is not the answer, but it will have to fit. Sabotender will have to finish it anyway because it's a crystal. Now that does mean now we have the Mire Shed and Checkerboard Cave, along with Agata's Cave, because we left it behind after we did Death Mountain, which was what we needed for Ganon's Tower, or not Ganon's Tower, or Dark World Access. I say that because it was Ganon's Tower, because Rowland checked the new sign that's outside of Ganon's Tower, telling you how many crystals you need for Ganon's Tower. And since it's 7-7, meaning 7 crystals for GT and 7 to kill Ganon, that is, it says on there, you need all 7 crystals to enter Ganon's Tower.
But in that list of remaining checks too, we do have those 2 Pyramid Fairy chests.
Yep, that is another possibility, and it's really coming down to the wire here. We're running out of checks really, really fast.
Math Girdle ascending Tower of Hair. Might be taking on Moldorm here very shortly.
Also, to answer a question, since we do have actual access to Swamp Palace, that does mean it's actually 5 items. However, we cannot finish it. There's only at least 5 or so items in there, not the full 6. And Ral given our auditory flute activation.
Without that hook shot, you can't get to the back of Swamp, so it opens a few back. It just never feels good double dipping Swamp. 10 sticks in checkerboard there.
And Rowland's Goose is now untitled.
Sabo making the dip over to Agana now.
Yeah, Agata is a call. Definitely doing it now before you go out to like Pendant Dungeons or Swamp. and only 100 rupees. So aggregate is not the answer. Either go for you can either go for swamp and hope that you don't hope you find a hook shot there, which would be really bad, or get lucky and find it on something like the Bombos tablet or the Pyramid Fairy.
Sabo heading over to 3. Looks like might be actually going for a head check here, possibly.
Nope, he's actually heading for, I believe he might be wanting to do.
Did he skip the Smith chain here?
I would imagine he might have.
Yeah, looks like that's where he's going over here.
Yeah, because he doesn't have the cape. And we know the cape is locked behind the purple chest.
In the meantime, Chloe has taken down Limulus as well. Their Desert Palace Crystal.
So, as everyone is retracing their footsteps, I should probably point out that you should definitely get these 4 runners a follow. There are actually 4 out of a good variety of streamers behind the scenes racing alongside them. And definitely give our crew a good follow. Our lone tracker is Link40, and I am Professor Render, and my co-commentator is Spy Weaver, and we're just trying to get along. Just get the seed moving along as best as we can with the kind of slow it is.
Trying to use our curse for good here and make him hop upon that hook shot very soon here for it.
What do you mean curse? Halloween's already passed.
Oh, it may be passed, but commentator's curse isn't restricted to just one season now, is it?
Of course not. Definitely not. You have a point, though.
That being said, I think we've mentioned it enough to the point that we might see it on the Pyramid Fair. And everybody's been avoiding it thus far.
After all, I was actually definitely running that Tunic Link sprite from. We were talking about the sprites earlier, and that does confirm it. That was the sprite used for just the Tunic colors.
Tunic color.
Yeah. Looks don't deceive you.
If it wasn't for that butter sword, we'd have an all red Link there.
Mm-hmm. And Roland has taken care of the Limulus, and Sabatino gets stuck inside the purple chest guy, and actually heading for the Bombos tablet.
Some more new information over here for us.
Yeah, gonna hold the sword in the air, and we're gonna be finding out that Bombos tablet only has 300 rupees, so it's not the Bombos tablet now. I personally would just go for either you go for swamp and pray that you find the hook shot there, or go for the Pyramid Fairy. Although I believe that's the play. He's actually going to go for that Pyramid Fairy. He doesn't want Saboteur just wants to leave Swamp House behind because does not want to go too deep into the dungeon. So that and hope and find out that there's either possibly completely nothing, or the hook shot's not there. So Saboteur are going to play it safe here and check out the Pyramid Fairy, which is worth 2 items, so only 3 less than our current situation.
The last thing you'd want to do there is go ahead and dive into Swamp, go all the way to the left just to find out that your hookshot was sitting on Pyramid Fairy the whole time.
it looks like Rowland is actually going to give our pet check from our understanding. Yep, he's going to go for the pet check. The only possible progression that's on there is that hook shot, but I don't really see a whole lot of anything on the pedestal as per usual. There's low chances of the pedestal being in there. And you got 10 shots for your bow. That's only 10 arrows, and that is pedestal completely gone. Or on Braves Side Relief.
And Pyramid Fairy is Quake. Uh-oh. Quake and Bomb.
Oh boy. So now that
Oh,
do you
boy.
go for that we have Sahasrara available as well as those 2 items in Misery Mire.
In the sense that is kind of progression, but probably the last bit of progression you wanted to see at this point.
Yeah, which is it is not nice to have that Quake there at all. Now that means you have to go for Pendant Dungeons because Saboteur has it. He's going for that now. Actually, Chloe's heading for Swamp Palace. Actually going to take in a gamble, hoping that there's that hook shot there. If he finds the hook shot, then that's your go mode.
Definitely pay off big. Just depends which one of these 2 runners will find it first. Let's see Chloe going over to the left side.
And this is even backed up by the fact that if he finds the hook shot here in Swamp Palace, that actually means he's very much ahead in the lead, pretty much going to be leading pretty strongly. Because he's only at 6. He's only 6 items away. He has 6 items away. He has 6 crystals, and if he finds the hook shot here, that will be able to clear for his 7th.
And don't forget, it's fast Ganon too. You'll be able to clear it off and go right up to the pyramid and drop right on in.
Yep, and that because the fast Ganon means you don't have to go to GT immediately, and all you really need to do is get those 7 crystals, and you'll fight Ganon.
Pyramid hole is open right from the start. Last check is Big Q. We got 1 more check.
Yep, and if Saboteur finds it in Misery Mire, then he'll be in go mode, and we'll have to do a pretty quick, although I'll be a pretty sort of irritating, I guess, Swamp Palace. Although I really don't need a big key for that at all. So Chloe gonna check out the bit chest. Will this be our vanilla hook shot? It's only 5 rupees. So now it's now all eyes are on Saboteur. There it is!
Nice. There it is in Mire.
So at 1 hour, 17 minutes, and 47 seconds, Saboteur is now in go mode.
Nearing out instantly, that's going to be right on over to Swamp. Nice go mode Swamp in the works.
There you go. And you said something about Commentator's Curse being all year round? Well, that was true. Except that was more of a blessing rather than a curse. And the Pyramid Fairy was actually required, oddly enough. So you have to go to Turtle Rock and Pod in order to get your Quake, which requires a hook shot. And you found the Samaria in Pod, and you found your Ice Rod pretty early on, and you found the Fire Rods in the brewery.
It looks like Chloe is going through the Pyramid Fairy as well, so that is definitely good news. We've got plenty of runners that just despise going in Ice Palace if they don't need to, and it is definitely working out for them in this case.
Yeah, this the fact that that pendant was Ice Palace it braves a huge sigh of relief, because that dungeon is very, very annoying, which thankfully was changed in the GBA port. So Chloe will be pretty close to go mode after he finishes up and gets that Quake medallion. So all Saboteur really needs to do is just get the key and go, because Saboteur has a pretty big lead.
pop into the main annex, grab your key from the hookshot chest there, go straight to the back, take out Argus, and then you just got nothing but a pyramid climb between you and making some bacon. Chloe grabs that Quake medallion from the Pyramid Fairy, pulling out the flute. Should be seeing a Meyer play as well very shortly. And there's the 6. I'll put him right back on track here.
I have to go pick up that book from Turtle Rock, and she's doing her Turtle Rock run through. She will be pretty close to getting. She will have the Pyramid Fairy, which does require just need it for Quake, and have her bookshop, which is suddenly linear, even though it's kind of like, even though it takes you pretty all around the shop here.
Sabo actually went and checked the 2 flooded chests there.
Now, Saboteur is actually on pace to get 130, and this will be a silverless fight because in version 31, the bows are now progressive, which now means silverless Ganon is in logic in advanced placement. Silver arrows, it would be required if we were playing in basic placement. And what I mean by advanced placement and basic placement is that there are settings in version 31 that let you change the item placement logic, either basic for beginner players or advanced for the more normal and probably the more speedrun friendly varieties. So now Saboteur's on the Argus fight. Just got rid of the Argai. That's the quick kill from Saboteur onto Argus. That will be his 7th crystal. And all he really needs to do now is fight the big pig, and that will be a GG for Saboteur.
Meanwhile, down the bottom right, looks like Chloe about to pick up their hook shot. Heading over to the first of 2 firelock checks over here. Thankfully, it's just in the first one, so it's not behind our cutscene for the evening. Grabbing the hookshot, taking the mirror, we'll be heading out right into Swamp as well.
And no, we won't be playing a big key guessing game because of the fact it's fast Ganon.
No tower climb today.
Yep, it's Fast Friday. It's fast Ganon, early boots, the whole shop. And
all the fast items.
Yep. And how Saboteur has climbed the top of the Pyramid of Power and drops down to fight Ganon. No Akatu. And no Thriller Akatu, luckily. And there's no Wargs.
Just playing old Ganon today. Won't be throwing any vegetables around.
I mean, the pay-per-view is set up like for those who have watched last night's race. Like, oh boy, what a interesting one.
That's definitely one way to put it. It was fun, that's for sure.
And so this was a really quick sequence, and this will definitely be a sub 130 for Saboteur. Those teleports won't really slow Saboteur down well underneath the range for a sub 130. And that is the final nail in the coffin down to phase 4. And the silver arrows are rushing Ganon's tower. That's a rude place for those silver arrows, especially for a fast Ganon.
Fancy that.
That pretty much guaranteed you get. Yeah, if you found all 2 items, that would have. If you found all 2 bows, the Ganon hint would have said, "Oh no, silver by 1 true weakness," and that pretty much means right away. It's clear that this scene did not want you to get the silver arrows at all, because putting the silver arrows in Ganon's tower pretty much just confirmed it right there. You will not be getting those silver arrows in a fast Ganon seed.
Especially with how easily our runners get the butter sword today, there wouldn't be any reason for them to be dipping in again at all.
Yeah, still 12 spins. 700's Torch Glitch. This is not a big deal for him at all. And down goes the big pig. Or GG's in chat for him. We'll get his official time pretty soon as he'll cross the bridge. And Sabatender has finished first on the restream with an official Astral time of 1:25:37, and that is good for bronze medal, 3rd place. And on the overall restream, on the overall race, going in descending order in the silver, with the silver medal, Lin with a time of 1:24:07, and Blaine taking the gold medal and with 1:21:55.
Definitely not a bad time at all. For the most part, everything seemed like it was pushing in a very linear path towards one item to the next there for what you needed. Rallen opening up that big chest and swamp. Not getting the item he's looking for, so we're going up to the Pyramid Fairy for him as well. Should be getting that breadcrumb trail very shortly. Chloe's making their way as well up towards Ganon's tower. Not the tower, the pyramid, I should say now, having taken down Art. Seeing a little more bacon being made here very short. Math Girl looping around, using the powder on the magic bat check there, only getting their piece of heart. And Chloe dropping down on into Ganon here.
And Sabatender is actually in the waiting room. We're going to get him in pretty soon. Hello, Sabatender. GG. And good job on the time.
Hey there. Yeah, thanks. Kind of worked out for me today, huh?
Yeah, it was definitely a interesting seed. The play for the Pyramid Fairy definitely paid off, and going for that Misery Mire play whenever you had the chance to, and it definitely paid off well.
Yeah, definitely. It was, I felt like I was kind of behind in my routing. I did a couple of things backwards, like getting the bow after my pod dip kind of felt bad. So I don't know, I didn't really take a lot of crazy gambles after that point, but I thought, I've got to just kind of, give a couple of good shots in and see what kind of breaks I might be able to get. Once I got those 2, 5, 6 crystals, I thought, okay, let's route in the big bomb. And then when Quake pops up, I hadn't been in any of the pendant dungeons, but seeing Quake, I was like, it's got to be Mire. It's got to be. So that's what got me going there.
Yeah, and luckily for you, that the fact that Quake was required for Misery Mire was definitely the right call to make, because we were thinking that originally we thought, of course, we thought the Palestone would have been where our progression was. That would have incentivized having to find that medallion for Misery Mire. Since there's nothing on there, we also then thought about potentially Pyramid Fairy, which was right on cue too with the pet check.
Yeah, definitely. If Quake hadn't popped up in the pyramid, I definitely would have gone into like ice. Ice was definitely on my mind at that point. You know, I didn't really have too many locations left. It was Tower of Hera, and maybe a couple of one-offs here and there, but really not too many. And then the dungeons, so like Ice Palace and the Misery Mire being locked out like that. Honestly, when Quake popped up, I didn't know if it was going to be hookshot in Mire, but the idea of pedestal did kind of come into my mind, even though I guess you guys had seen on stream here that wasn't a possibility. It got me thinking a little bit about it, but not too much.
I'm just
Yeah,
gonna interrupt
definitely.
you very quickly here. Looks like Chloe Power just down Ganon. Get your GGs in chat there. Official SRL time of 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 7 seconds. Good for 8th place overall.
Yo, that's hype.
Yep. Yeah, and the best thing about that, but the sea is that you never had to go to Ice Palace whatsoever because of the Quake in the Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah, definitely feels good. Yo, Chloe, GG's, man.
Hi,
GGs,
GGs.
Chloe.
So, was the difference between our time me going into Swamp Palace for no reason?
Yeah.
Yep, that was the difference between the two of you there.
Yikes.
I tried to Galaxy Brain it and go into Swamp Palace. It's like, it's gonna be vanilla. But-
Not a bad play, man. Not a bad play at all. I was thinking about it earlier, but it just didn't work out for me, so I managed to dodge it.
Yeah, I didn't have like a ton left. I had Ice Palace, which I didn't want to really touch. And Mire, of course, but I didn't have Quake at the time because I had not done Pyramid Fairy yet.
Yeah, it makes sense for you to go to Swamp Palace when you did at the time, because because we were personally thinking that it would have been on Swamp Palace to begin with. Like once we found once we found the big chest, it led to the big chest, and we thought, oh, it might be vanilla, or not. But then we found out later on the big stream that, oh, Quake is actually the hookshot's right in Misery Mire and the Firelock portion of Misery Mire. So there's that.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. I like the mirror locked mitts in King's Tomb.
Yeah,
That's pretty
that was
hype.
nice. That was nice. And the best thing about this too is that you never had to go to Ice Palace whatsoever.
Right, and I'm glad I didn't, even though I had access to it forever.
Yeah.
It felt like the easy kind of bait. It almost like it was just like too obvious, you know? That's what I was thinking. Like we had everything we needed to get in there. Like it was just calling to you, and if you could avoid it, then you're good.
Let's see, I finished Thieves Town, got the Fire Rod, got the mitts almost immediately, and I had access to all of Ice Palace. And I'm like, I am not touching that.
Mhm. Yeah, and then not to mention too, like the only reason I would imagine if you at the time we would have went for Ice Palace is if maybe you were, of course, looking for the hook shot, might be also looking for silver arrows, even though it's fast scanning and silver scan is logically required. But since we got the hint that it's like, oh, silvers are in GT, and like, yeah, there's no way you would ever possibly find the silvers. You have to do silver scanning.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, there wasn't really a good point to go to Ice, to be honest, because, like, I think the only break point was the hook shot and gambling that Turtle Rock was like ether.
Mhm.
Because I think Turtle Rock locked the other two medallions, right?
Yeah, it locked Quake out, and it also locked out, I believe, Bombos.
But yeah, because Bombos was in the Mire area.
Mhm.
Or maybe Desert Palace. Either way, it was still locked by Turtle Rock.
Yeah, it was locked. It was in Desert Palace.
So yeah, I mean, you would have. I mean, I didn't have much to do again when I went up to Turtle Rock, but it was a good seed. I mean, it wasn't like a ton you could gamble on. Could have skipped out on Hera, I suppose, but you were up there.
Yeah.
I just checked the first two chests and seeing both keys there. I thought, if I need to come back for this, then fine, I will. But Hera's a tough one. It's one of those ones I usually get baited into like full clearing because it's pretty short. Today I kind of skipped it. So that might be another difference. Did you do the whole?
Yeah, I went up to the top. I actually got center hold because I was
no.
flitzing around.
Yeah.
Which was terrible.
And
All right.
the bench chest only was another mail upgrade anyway, so you weren't missing a whole lot.
Yeah, it was just a second armor in there. Then again, if you didn't go there, you probably got the armor from Island, so that was a little bit of extra time that I didn't spend.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so I don't know. That was a pretty good one. I had a lot of fun. Always obviously getting like a decent result kind of like also feels good. So, but that was a fun one. I enjoyed it, and shout outs to you guys on the commentary team here, Press Render and Spy. Thanks a lot. And Link40, yo, what up? Doing the behind the scenes work, clicking those buttons. Much appreciated.
Yeah, I much prefer the seeds where the go mode item isn't like, oh, this one locks one location, so you need it for reasons. Because hookshot feels a little bit better, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Aside for that search for the hookshot, it seemed like most everything kind of was in a linear fashion, pointing you one way or the other to your next bit of progression there. So it's not like there was too much for trolley locks as far as item checks went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The biggest one I could have seen was Titan's Mitts.
Mm-hmm.
Even then, it was in a decent path that didn't lead you to get trolled.
Yeah.
Because you get the mirror out of the Thieves Town big chest, and after you finish up your Skull Woods plays, you would most likely head over to the right side for your Graveyard Legend King's Tomb, and since the gloves were the mitts were right in there, it actually it helps out because it's not like it's too bad at all.
Yeah, I guess for a seed where having the Titan's Mitts in King's Tomb goes, that one was pretty convenient, given that, as you said, with the whole mirror fire rod situation, you'd probably end up doing Skullwoods and going right over to the north part of Dark World. So better than some seeds where that can really be a terrible spot.
Right. But outside of that, any overall thoughts on the seed?
I liked 3 swords as soon as we got out of the castle.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Very nice, yeah.
Don't forget the hammer back there too.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
the hammer back there.
That definitely set the whole thing into motion. Mostly.
Yeah, no, it was a good one. Nice, fast Friday.
I was hoping that Moonpro was going to be on Pyramid Ledge, to be honest. It was looking like that for me because I never saw the sequence broke up to Death Mountain.
Yeah, it definitely looked like it when the time came around to that. But then, of course, everyone went. Death Mountain was logically in play. We found the Moonpearl inside Spectacle Rock, and that way made things a lot faster.
So get your GGs in chat there. Crossing the bridge in 13th place. Official SRL time of 1 hour, 38 minutes, and 18 seconds.
Oh, GG's.
GG's for Rollin.
And actually, to go into descending order, we had Ravis 10 in 12th place with a time of 1:37.50, Dragon Strike 1988 in 11th place with a time of 1:35.46, Salty Fry in 10th place at a time of 1:33.30, Plasma Kappa in 9th place with a time of 1:31.27. After Chloe Prower, we had Brewers Fan JP in 7th place with a time of 1:28.46. Gerdo in 6th place with a time of 1:28.27, yep. And Matt 7898 in 5th place with a time of 1:28.13 actually improves as personal best by only 50 seconds. And Bonta in 4th place with a time of 1:27.40.
And we are joined by Rollin. Looks like he's got his mic muted. There we go. GG's.
Hello.
GG.
GG's, man.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that highly offensive early on seed?
I mean, I felt I played the first hour pretty good, and then I didn't manage to find the hookshot. That sums it up, basically.
Yeah, hookshot was what seemed to be stumping everybody up. It was everybody here on the restreams go among. But at least everything was kind of leading you in that direction once you got that quick medallion from the Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm at least happy that unlike last time I was on Restream, I actually played quite okay and not died left and right again.
I mean, as long as you didn't get center hold by Moldorm, you did better than me.
Yeah. And we were talking about how convenient most of the items were. We were talking about mostly the Tidesmiths and King's Tomb. The fact that since you found a mirror in the big chest of Thieves Town, in addition to the fire rod in the brewery, you could just easily clear out Skullwoods and head for the northern Dark World, where you would do your mirror checks and ultimately find your Tidesmiths there.
It was a... The seed kind of really wanted you to go that way, putting the fire rod and Village of Outcasts, so immediately driving you back to Skullwoods after doing Thieves Town, having found the mirror. It wants you to think, well, I can grab Graveyard Edge King's Tomb on the way, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that you needed Pyramid Fairy for to get Jaquake and get ultimately the hook shot, and the fact that it was actually not too out of the way with the Samaria and Pod, and the rods being pretty early, especially the ice rod. It pretty much let you had to go through these Turtle Rock and pretty much get that done. It's still relatively not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I am a little bit sad about is that I really was for the longest time on the probably best route you could have taken, and I even decided to finish Turtle Rock before doing anything else on the mountain aside from doing Hera, which was paying off, kind of, being safety Hera.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, after Turtle Rock, I'm a little bit sad that I didn't really pursue the progression chain from there as strongly, but decided to finish out the other things.
I feel like it would be a legendary play if you had just skipped everything and gone to Turtle Rock, because there was nothing else on the mountain.
That's what I mean. After doing Pod, I went into Hera because I thought, let me at least check out the basement. If it's if the key is in the tile room basement, I just nope out, and it wasn't. And I checked for the items, and yeah, it was okay. And after that, I said, well, or as soon as I saw that I could enter Turtle Rock, I said, well, let me finish that one first. The progression is probably in here anyway, and I was right. But yeah, the hookshot was missing. And yeah, I mean, I was kinda going for the hookshot being locked by the book, or maybe by the flute, which I was partially right on. But yeah, that it was in Maya was a little bit saddening.
probably not as convenient as you'd have liked, but all in all, the progression chain did eventually kind of lead you down that direction. So it still could have been a lot worse as far as location.
Yeah, I mean, at the end there, I had the decision: do I dip Hookless Swamp? Do I go for Pendant Ice, or do I go for Pyramid Ferry? And at that point, after doing so much useless overworld, I kind of went for the Hookless Swamp and hoped that the play that the most people probably won't do and pays off to have a still chance. But yeah, basically in those situations, I most of the time get the wrong one anyway. So
And
not
that's
too
just the nature of
surprising.
Randomizer.
It is.
No kidding. Alrighty, guys, I'm gonna head out and let you guys finish up the rest of the broadcast. Just waiting for Math Girl to come in here, I guess. So thank you again for the restream, and thanks, guys, for doing the commentary and all that jazz. It's been a lot of fun. I'll catch you guys next time.
All right, take care.
Thanks for joining us, Sabo, and GG's. Speaking of Math Girl, taking a quick look down there, grabbing some potions before heading up to Ganon's. Just wanted to make sure you're extra safe there in case you miss the torch glitch or something else goes sideways. Just to make sure you only have one trip on in. She has taken out Argus, does have that Swamp Palace Crystal, so making the way over to the Pyramid of Power. Let's see, we have another Ganon fight here, very short. Once again here, before Batgirl does drop down in there, just want to mention it one more time. Be sure to give all these runners a follow that we had here on the restream featured for you this evening. They were 4 of the 21 entrants we had, and they put on quite a show here for you. Mathgirl's still going, putting on even more of a show, finishing it out for your viewing pleasure here.
Yep.
Go ahead and be sure to give them a follow. They like it when you join them up and drop down into their Twitch channel every now and then while they're practicing or doing some other races.
Maybe potentially practicing for the upcoming tournament.
That's right, we do have the fall tournament coming up here very shortly as well.
Well, at least try my best in the qualifiers and see how far I can go. If I can get in.
You mean Andy?
A few quick slashes, Mathgirl going for the torch glitch here onto phase 4 and gets the blip.
Excellent. And since again, the silver arrows being in GT was just it guaranteed you don't have to you will never get the silver arrows at all because of the way the fast Ganon is. Just go straight for GT or go straight for Ganon.
The only plausible way you'd see somebody dip into Ganon's tower on a fast Ganon would be if we had 3 swords actually hiding up there.
Yeah, that would have been the only reason why you would ever want to go there. Since there's already like 3 swords in the start of the game. Yeah, you were never gonna go there at all. And Math Girl's gonna pop a potion, so she stays alive.
Just a little bit of extra safety there to make sure we get this one and done here. I don't have to take Death or Fall and visit it one more time. Just a few swordless spins off here. one or two more if my counting is correct. And there it is. Math Girl takes down Ganon, making some bacon for us here. Get your GGs in chat. So a 1x3 bridge separating Math Girl from the Triforce this evening.
And she will be finishing fourth on the restream with an official astral time of 1:50:07, and that's good for 15th place overall. And going in descending order, we only have one other finisher, and that was your Hydropower 78 in 14th place of time of 1:41:47.
So while we wait and see if Math Girl wants to join us here for the interview, do you have any thoughts here on the seed here, Professor?
Definitely a fast seed. I mean, yeah, there was parts where it slowed down, but in general, it wasn't too terrible. Most of the items were in positions that, like we mentioned on the interviews, that they weren't really bad. You had the mirror, which led you to the fire rod and go for Skull Woods. Then you had the Titan's Mitts, and then you had, of course, the Pyramid Fairy being what you needed, and Turtle Rock, having to go Turtle Rock early was what you had to do in order to continue on. And then overall, the seed wasn't too bad. And we're joined by Math Girl. GG.
GG's. Good grief, that seed.
It wasn't bad. The seed wasn't too bad. Like, we're talking like this. A lot of the item locations were in pretty convenient spots, except for maybe the Quake.
And the hook shot.
Yeah, the hook shot. Yeah, which, I mean, even then, the hook shot led. The fact that Quake was on Pyramid Fairy that led to the hook shot still kind of was convenient. It was just the Quake that was all we needed.
Wait, people didn't. Oh, I guess that makes sense. I didn't want to, be forced to dive a pendant if I didn't have to, so I went there first.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Like, it was required, definitely. But the way that since we had to do Turtle Rock early, and of course Pod early, pretty much, and it leading into your Pyramid Fairy after you're done with all the dungeons you could possibly do, the fact you going for Pyramid Fairy probably after Dragon the pedestal was the right call to make. And you had to go into Ice Palace, which was a great time.
The whole time I was going through Desert and Mire, I was just like, which do I dive if I have to? Do I dive Swamp without the hookshot, or do I dive Pendant Ice?
Yeah, we had one other runner that actually did do Swamp first before doing the Pyramid Fairy, and that was Chloe Prower.
Oh.
I mean, it only separated him from Sabotenor, and really it wasn't too bad. The seed really played nice in near the late of the game, and even then throughout the seed it played really nice because you got 3 stars right out of the gate. You had your hammer. There was a little bit of an Agus scare, but then the Moon Pearl was in Turtle and up in that mountain, and that was pretty easily thwarted.
Yep. That was kind of a rude placement.
Yeah, that was rude, but I mean, it was only kind of, yeah, it was kind of rude. I don't need to like
very last
miss
location
sports
here.
here. Very last location, yes.
I mean, everything else is stringing you on. You get that early Master Sword, you get the lamp, and you're just going, okay, I got 1 or 2 things left. What do I do? You climb the mountain, you get your next 2 checks, and they're the last thing you basically can check up there, just sitting right inside a Spectacle Rock for you, just taunting you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
I bet everybody just kind of collectively, breathed a sigh of relief right there as soon as they saw that one.
Yeah, I bet.
I mean, I kind of expected it there. The loadout wasn't really for an Agus seed, really. Not with Hammer and Glove already, and no hookshot to be found. So I kind of expected it up there, to be honest, when I went up mountain. So it was more of a like, yep, guess right.
Alright, I'm gonna hop out of here though. Thanks again.
No problem. And definitely give all these 4 runners a nice party follow. And that was, of course, your 4 restreamed runners were Sapatender, Power, Math Girl, and Ralentang Cure. And then, of course, give our one lone tracker a follow, Link Force Zero. Definitely pulling out all stops and tracking all 4 of these amazing runners. Coming up down the road, we will have a, if I'm not mistaken, there's actually what appears to be some sort of qualifier for the upcoming main tournament. It was there originally, but no, it's not there anymore. But coming up on like at least on Sunday, yeah, it's going to be on Sunday. So if you want to check out the appears to be the qualifiers for the main Link to the Past Randomizer tournament, definitely go and check it out. It's going to be held on Sunday, November 3rd, on 12:15 p.m. And then of course we have our open weekly race at 5:30 p.m. That has yet to be decided. But if you want to know when that comes up, be sure to follow the Speed Gaming family of channels, from Speed Gaming to Speed Gaming 2 through 6, and then our multilingual channels, including French, English, French, Dutch, Spanish, and Portuguese. And with that, Spy, do you have any final words?
Just not anything other than just look kind of like, essentially, the locations were a lot of last location the items, but it was kind of pointing you there where the progression train was giving you. So in a way, it was kind of a linear last location of sorts.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as trolly as some of those items could have eventually been.
Yeah, the only possible, I guess, troll in quotations was probably the Quake. But even then, it was still in a nice linear path. You never had to, like, last location, a whole bunch of items, have to go all around High Wall.
Yeah,
just
the
to
Quake
find out
pointed you
where
right
the Quake
to
was.
that hook shot. So.
Yep. And so for that, I hope you have a good night, everybody. Until then, take care.
Good night, everybody.